Good day to our thesis lecturer, Ms. Nur Farahida binti Zohardin. I am Evian P. Monorusun. As the team group leader, we will be presenting our final assignment work entitled Firefighting with my groupmates, Ms. Fatin Farzana, Ms. Khairun Naziha Aini, and Ms. Epifiana Esther. Moving on to the next slide. Thank you. I will proceed to the introduction and background of the study. Introducing you, our company, Promax Fire Sendirian Berhad. This company is an organization of specialist contractors in total fire protection. We offer fire protection services in installation of fire sprinkler and other services. Our company majorly focus on fire protection activity. Fire sprinkler systems are necessarily to help protect the client's facility, employees, and assets. And the next slide, please. The objectives of our company is, first one, to provide construction work of any building and firefighting planting. Second one, to install, repair, and maintenance of the indoor water piping system. The third one, to perform any construction, installation, or modification to any part of a water supply system. The fourth one, identify risks at the workplace before, during, and after police to discuss and give appropriate suggestions of control measures to the clients. I'll be giving the next presenting to Ms. Fatin Farzana.
Thank you, Ms. Evie, for the pleasant presentation. So next one is presentation of hazard of firefighting piping system maintenance work, fire sprinkler. Next slide, please. So first one is safety hazard. We begin with using scissor lift machine. So using scissor lift machine may lead to accident occurrence as there is a tendency of workers fall from the scissor lift, which causes fatality. That this may happen at least once a month in the workstation. So the second hazard that we identify is machine, where the problem is the pipe cutter machine is operating openly on the ground, that which may result into slip and trip, and also causes entanglement by clothes and causes cuts on skin. So this may happen at least once a month in the workplace. Next slide, please. So for health hazard, we have 4 health hazards identified from the specific work hazards, starting with spray painting pipes, where the spray painting pipes is extremely flammable and harmful by inhalation, where it lead to fatality and third-degree fire burn due to accident occurrence. And this situation, so the second one is for contact with copper pipe material. So contact with copper pipe material has the tendency of accidental copper consumption before eating and drinking. So as a result, workers may experience health problems such as diarrhea, that this may happen at least once a year in the workplace. Next slide, please. So So the third hazard for health hazard is lifting heavy pipes, where lifting heavy pipes repeatedly causes an internal injury, which is a tear of muscle, as there is an excessive force used beyond the muscle capacity. That this situation may happen twice a week. So for the next one is awkward posture by installing pipe. So an awkward posture is made by workers while performing their job tasks. For example, from installing the pipe on the ceiling. So it led to musculoskeletal disorder injury that this may happen once a day in the workplace. Next. Like, so I'll pass the presentation to Epifiana, to Miss Epifiana.
So I'm gonna present about the job task from our company. So there's a job task from our company, which is installing fire pumps, water storage tanks, setups of flow switches, pressure switches, and last but not least, pipe works and valve. All the overall the work processes we are according to the NFPA, which means National Fire Protection Association. We are committed to providing a safety and healthy work environment to prevent hazard or incident happen in our company. And then we also elimination and so next. Next is the workplace assessment, which is will be presented by uh, Khairul Naziha.
Um, okay, now we have the workplace assessment. In workplace assessment, we have inspection and observation. Inspection and observation. In inspection and observation, we have evaluate work practices, housekeeping, installing control measure, maintenance, and last but not least, this is an important one, which is the emergency procedure. For the evaluate work practices, the safety officer must ensure the experienced worker in the field of the fire piping system perform maintenance due, 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 due to prevent accident. Second is the housekeeping. Housekeeping is the safety officer should observe the duties of their employees upon completive to ensure no accident occur. For the third one, which is the installing control measure, which is the employees must be ensured to use complete PPE such as eye protection to avoid any sprinkler during the fire extinguish piping system maintenance. Next is the maintenance. The maintenance is the safety officer must inspect the area of the fire extinguish piping system in a safe condition before allowing his employee to perform the maintenance process. The last but not least is the emergency procedure, which is the important one. This is about the safety officer must ensure the employees provide emergency method to provide an overview of how emergency are prepared and trained to the dangers to be considered in the event of an emergency after completion of maintenance. Next, we go to the review workers' medical records. This is very important one. The safety officer must ascertain whether his employee has had any accident in the past or not to allow him to do the job. This is done to avoid any accident during the maintenance. Next is the potential accident factor. This is the employee must careful to ensure to have no incident. Since the sprinkler is installed in a high position, a scissor hosing machine is necessary to lift personnel from maintenance tasks. If the machine fails to operate, however, the worker may suffer accidents such as the ruptured arm. Next is about the risk matrix. Risk matrix is a tool that is normally used to assess the level of risk and assist the decision-making process. It takes into consideration the category of probability or likelihood against the category of consequence severity. As we can see here, for the red one, which is the high, this involves immediate measure to manage the dangers as state in the control hierarchy. The hierarchy control. On the risk assessment, from the date of completion, action performed must be not. The second, we go to the yellow one, which is the medium risk. Medium risk will require a planned risk management technique. Action taken on the risk evaluation from including completion that must be documented. Lastly, for the green one, which is the low, this is a risk identified as low may be acceptable and may not be necessary to the further reduce it. However, control action should be implemented and reported if the risk can be solved swiftly and efficiently. This is the likelihood, which is in the severity, which is in the risk metric. For likelihood, probability of being placed above, and frequently probability placed below. For the severity table, same like the likelihood table. The severity for the high one, we put in the top. At the vice versa, we put at the bottom. That's all for me. Next to the Fatin Farzana.
Thank you. So moving on to the hierarchy of control behavior, we got 5 types of methods, which is elimination, substitution, engineering controls, administrative controls, and personal protective equipment. Next slide, please. Okay, so the first one is elimination. So elimination is the act of getting rid of harmful job, machine, substances. So where it reduces the chances of getting an explosion from the bottles. So the next one is substitution. Substitution is the act of doing the same thing in the different way. For example, like spray painting pipes is the replacement of spray painting into a manual painting, which is a less hazardous way possible in painting. So we managed to reduce an occurrence. So next slide, please. So for engineering controls, engineering controls have so many types of ways to implement. For example, like isolation. So for cutting pipe using pipe cutter machine, engineering controls controls can be implemented by to isolate the machine from workers' workstation to avoid accident. So that we can avoid the slip and trip or entanglement hazard. So the second one for engineering controls is to use the adjustable height lift for the installing pipes work tasks, where installing pipes in fire sprinkler usually will be installing pipes in the high area, which is the ceiling. So there is a need to use an adjustable height lift to avoid any musculoskeletal injuries or health problems. So next, okay, so the third one is administrative control. So administrative control is usually done or is usually be implemented by the employers. So for example, for the work task of using scissor lift machine, employer can implement administrative control by allowing only trained workers to operate. This is to ensure that they know the possible hazard that they are dealing with and to avoid any harmful mistakes. So the next example is for lifting heavy pipes. So lifting heavy pipes, uh, ways to avoid the tear of muscle is that to apply job rotation and implement standardized safe work practices um, that is periodically evaluated and updated, which is this is to the aim of this method is to reduce the duration of time workers exposed to the tear of muscle, the possibility of tear muscle. So the next one is contact with copper pipes. The method is the hygiene, which is applying safety operating procedures by making sure that every workers wash their hands before eating and drinking. So the last one is personal protective equipment, PPE. Thank you. So for the last one is that all the work tasks must wear a specific or the suitable personal protective equipment, such as, for example, like high visibility vest, helmet, high and safety boots, and for painting, maybe a coverall and also a full face mask, and then safety harness for using the scissor lift machine. So all this PPE does not really effective in preventing the hazard, but a protective it is as additional protective equipment. So that is all from me. Thank you. So Harriet Tabu is to be presented by Epifiana.
So as we can see, this is our hierarchy table. The highest risk that we can found, which is the number one, the work activity is the spray painting pipes. Hazard that we can found is flammable, extremely flammable, which can cause fatality and third fire degree burn. And then the existing risk control that we can found after research, which is full face mask, disposal coverall, chemical resistant glove, and safety boots. And then the likelihood and the severity, we can conclude as the risk 16, which is very high over all the hazard. And then the risk control that we can found, which is use manual painting operation and get rid of spray painting bottles. And then the very low, which is the last one, the contact with copper pipes. Hazard that we can found is excessive ingestion of copper. It can cause diarrhea, and then we can see from the hierarchy table the existing risk control, which is helmet, high visibility vest, gloves, and safety boots. The likelihood and severity, the conclusion of likelihood and severity, the risk is 2, which is it is very low over the all hazard. And then the recommendation of control measure, we found that applying safety operating procedure (SOP) can help to prevent the hazard happen. So that's all from me. Go to Evie for the summarizing of our assignment.
Summary of this final assignment case study. Promek Senin Berhad is more focused on safety and health at the workplace, methods of identifying hazards, determining risk based on the risk matrix, and applying hierarchy of control measure based on the work activity. Thank you for listening on our virtual presentation. And at this opportunity, we apologize for any informal or harsh words or any mistakes. I am Evioni Manarusun. Thank you.
Thank you for all the knowledge you gave to us. I am Fatin Farzana.
I am Khairun Nazihat. Thank you so much.
I'm Epifana Esther. Thank you for listening.
Mm.
Thank you.